everybody. It is Thursday, April 18th. I am still Chris, and today I want to talk about something that's going to happen in Pennsylvania. So, in Pennsylvania later today, Joe Biden, aka the President of the United States, is going to get endorsed by a bunch of members of the Kennedy political family. And you say, why? And I say, well, there's a little guy named Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running for President of the United States, and the Biden team is worried about him. And if you didn't think the Biden team was worried about him, well, this event should convince you. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the New York Times, which reported on this today. So a bunch of people that are the kids of Bobby Kennedy, that means they are siblings of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., are going to be endorsing Biden, including Joseph, Carrie, Rory, Kathleen, Maxwell, and Christopher. I think they had 11 children. Bobby Kennedy had 11 children. So it's not all of them, but it's a bunch of them. Why? So, again, I want to elaborate on the Biden is worried point, because I think that's the main takeaway here. That's what you should take away. So, no one really knows how much of the vote Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to take. What we know is he's an independent. What we know is he ran briefly for the Democratic nomination for president before dropping out. What we know is, at least currently, he's only on one ballot in the general election, Utah, although his campaign says they have signatures to make it on a bunch more ballots. And what we know, and I just checked this morning, is according to Real Clear Politics' polling average, he's at 7.9% of the national vote, which obviously Trump and Biden are in the 40s. He's at 7.9. Well, you think 7.9 is not all that much. True, if the goal is to win. But 7.9% for a third-party candidate is actually pretty damn good. It's, if he got, let's call it 8% nationally, that would be the highest vote total for a third-party candidate since Ross Perot in 1992. In most swing states where there's polling, he's at 5, 6, 7%. But Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Again, this is a general. I'm not citing a specific poll. Generally speaking, he's a little bit lower in swing states, but is still getting a legitimate amount of support. So the Biden team is worried about this, right? And I think for good reason. So if you think about who is a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. voter, it's a little hard, right? Like, he's done a lot of great work with the Children's Defense Fund. At the same time, he's really highlighted his anti-vax credentials. He's sort of a conspiracy theorist, at least about some things as it relates to the government and how they work with corporations. But he has that last name, Kennedy, right? So for anyone, I'm 48, my age and older, that name carries significant weight, right? This was the first family of Democratic politics. They had a Kennedy in the White House. They had a Kennedy in the Senate, a Kennedy attorney general, and Bobby Kennedy was running for president and was going to be the Democratic nominee before he was shot and killed. So this is a family, and then Teddy Kennedy, obviously, who was in the Senate, ran for president, lost to Jimmy Carter, but stayed around for, a bunch more years. So this is a family who is very closely associated, easy for me to say, with Democratic politics. So I think the Biden people worry about it for that reason in particular, which is people who aren't paying that much attention maybe to the vote. They don't really want to vote for Biden. They don't want to vote for Trump. And they have this other alternative. They're probably Democrats, and they have this other alternative that has Kennedy as a last name. It's like, well, I mean, Kennedys, they've always been Democrats. They made this party. So I think the Bidens are worried in that regard. And I think that's what this event is about, right? This event is to say, not all Kennedys. In fact, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is on an island. Yes, he has the name. Yes, he is the son of Bobby Kennedy, but his family does not share his view of Joe Biden, of the Democratic Party, and of the country, right? And I think that's why they do an event like this, to say, basically, the family, I was going to say the party, the family is unified for Joe Biden, not for their brother or their uncle, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So to try to isolate him and to try to separate out that Kennedy name, which is still gold in Democratic politics, separate out that Kennedy name from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. My strong guess will be if Kennedy Jr. continues to get a decent chunk of the vote, particularly in swing states, you will see ads with the Kennedy family endorsing Joe Biden, because the margins here are going to be really close in a place like Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin. I already said Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. All the margins we expect to be, somewhere between 10,000 and 50 or 100,000 votes. So a little bit makes a big difference. So I would assume that this event today, in which, 15 members of the Kennedy family endorse Joe Biden, is a precursor to ads, if they are still worried about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the fall, to try to separate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the Kennedy clan more generally. But your big takeaway today is, yes, the Biden team is worried about the impact Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will have, and they are trying to act to preempt people from voting for him in the fall. All right, that's all I got. Don't forget, every Friday we do a live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We will do one tomorrow. I will take your questions. I'll post the link on my channel probably later today or early tomorrow. Thank you, as always, for your support. Subscribe, like this video, share this video. Take care. See you tomorrow.